I thought I could talk about. When hardship comes into our life, one, why does hardship even exist? And why does the universe give us hardship? What is the universe trying to teach us from us going through moments that we feel unprepared for, that feel bigger than we can handle, that are moments that maybe create greater hardship in our life, that we overthink or overplan for, or feel like moments where we go, if I had that feel like they're like we should have known how to do it better than we were able to do it. And I would say the universe puts us through hardship to help us grow. And that when we go often in, I've said this in other videos, but if you can look back at your life and look at what inspired the most of who you are in this moment, at least in my life, the moments that were the most hard, I struggled through the most, to some degree were even a traumatic or abusive, created going forward my greatest purpose. It created my greatest desire for healing and actually pushed me into being a better person than if I had never had to go, if I never had gone through those moments in the first place. And you can think about it, the people who need the most healing are oftentimes the people that desire the healing the most, when they're aware of how deeply they're hurting. Because some people are unaware of it, and then they just play out their pain with everyone they come across. And that's a different level of consciousness or awareness. But when you're aware of how much pain you're in and how much you desire healing, your greatest pain becomes your greatest inspiration for growth, your greatest inspiration for change. And when you think about hardship, struggle, moments that you feel inadequate to meet, it's usually the universe going, you are ready for your next greatest level of growth. You're ready for your next level, greatest level of transformation. And sometimes that's going to be through blessings, through abundance, for new people coming into your life who meet you deeper than you've ever been met before. And sometimes that's going to be moments of loss, hardship, struggle, feeling inadequate, things happening that don't feel good to our heart, don't feel like things happen that maybe don't feel the most supportive to us or whatever, like little conflicts, complication, chaos. And just because, and I would say the perspective of abuse and trauma can be helpful is only something we should really hold as long as that when we're looking back at the abuse and trauma that we survived. Because if you, there's no reason to ever regret anything that's happened in your life. And if you're looking back at situations and go, I wish I would have been better, I wish that this would have played out differently, I wish that wouldn't have happened, that is usually a perspective that just makes you feel more less than, more alone, more worthless than it does powerful, supportive, encouraging. The universe always wants us to feel more powerful, more loved, more aligned. And so the beliefs we should hold of our greatest pain actually is what inspired our greatest healing, growth, and service going forward in our life. As long as we are willing to face that pain, feel that pain, and we all do this in different ways. Sometimes it might just be a better friend to people. Sometimes it might be inspiring us to volunteer, or even move into a direction of, this is the career I want to pursue and helping other people. But even if we never actively do something to help heal people of the pain that we went through, oftentimes the healing that we are able to receive often then seeks into whatever we create, whether that's some type of art or music or poems, and whether we just share that with ourselves or share that with more people is our choice. But if you're healing, if you've healed trauma or abuse, you are doing an incredible job. And even if you didn't do anything outside of heal yourself, as you find your way out of your pain, energetically, when people meet you, they're reminded by your presence of how they can find their way out of their pain a little easier if your pain and their pain matches, and probably to even some degree, even if it doesn't match. And so, however we wish to contribute to the world is our choice. But if we are healing, if we're willing to face our pain, even if it's just us serving us, we are doing an incredible job. And anything that happened in the past is something that, as we face and heal it, makes us stronger, gives us more purpose and inspiration than if it had never happened in the first place. And it's why life is a life of incredible grace and blessings and miracles, because as you feel whatever you have been through, you reclaim levels of power that you could have never reclaimed had those events not happened. And it's why the universe gives us hardship, it gives us struggle, it gives us incredible pain, because on the other side of it, even if it's another lifetime or a couple lifetimes down the road, it will be an incredible gift that will inspire the most beautiful angel in the body you inhabit to wake up and to start to serve others. And if we're in abusive or traumatic environments, it's always a time to remove yourself. It's never a time to go, why don't I work on myself? Why don't I avoid this pain? Why don't I pretend this is not happening? Because abuse and trauma is nothing anyone ever deserves, but we live on a planet where it is still happening. And so if it's happened to you in your past, it's not something you need to be hard on yourself about. It's not something you need to regret, but it's something that as you heal it will awaken more power than if you hadn't found it in the first place. And it's why unconsciousness or darkness is secretly serving the light, because as more people are given more and more hurt and pain they need to heal, it inspires people to heal quicker and search out that healing and search out how to become better people and help others more at a quicker degree, or like at a more accelerated rate. And so everything serves the whole, even the shitty, evil, awful things that happen, even when it looks like it's not serving the whole. If more people are given deeper pain, it accelerates their journey towards healing. And just because, and if we're in painful environments, the way to accelerate our journey towards healing is to leave those painful environments so that we actually are in an environment where we can heal. And so if you're in an abusive or traumatic environment or around people who are abusive or traumatic, it's always a time to remove yourself. It's always, if you're feeling more hurt or harmed by a person than you are supported, it's a time to say, I'm ready to let this person go and find other people who can actually love and care for me. But that was kind of but what I wanted to share when I was thinking about making this video is I used to work at a job, and the job was Stretch Lab. There's a lot of Stretch Lab examples this week, but at Stretch Lab, within a couple sessions of like a new client starting to work with me, I would go, okay, today we're going to push it a little bit. And instead of being at a 6 or a 6 out of 10 on the intensity scale, we're going to go for a 7 or an 8. And they would go, okay. And we would go and we start to lean in a little bit deeper. And sometimes if a client was still working through some or was a little bit more tight or tense, or their muscles open up slower, they might be breathing really heavy and go, and I would go, okay, we're going to do a contraction. And you can always tell me to take a break if we need a break. And then we're going a little deeper. And they go, okay. And we go a little deeper, and they would be breathing through the pain. And what I realized in that moment is me stretching that person and being rather neutral to the pain they were in is like how the universe relates to us. And the universe gives us events that we're not going to be able to meet quite how we wish we could, that we're going to overthink, overplan for, that are going to inspire greater change or growth in our life because of how we wish we could have met that moment and how we didn't meet that moment. The universe gives us that to help us grow, and your greatest growth is your greatest healing. And also, everything is, I don't know if I said this, but everything is duration versus intensity. And the more intense something is, the shorter of duration it takes you to get you to one side to the other. And the less intense something is, the longer naturally the duration it will be to transform you, to heal you, to change you. And so one thing I was aware of at Stretch Lab is if people could sit with a little bit more intense stretches, we would hit their goals quicker, because because the deeper or the more intense pain for the muscles, the faster those muscles are going to open up, to relax, and find greater range of motion. And you can think about stretching just like situations in your life and things that come into your life that are hardship, that are struggle, that can be rather intense or make you rather nervous. Maybe you're afraid of public speaking and you're pushed into a job that requires public speaking. Maybe you're having a problem with a friend and it's teaching you how to advocate for yourself in ways that feels a little bit uncomfortable. Those things of that feeling of uncomfortability, the feeling of nervous, the feeling of being like, how am I going to be able to meet this moment, is actually what's inspiring growth within you at a little bit of a quicker rate than if that experience wasn't happening. And it's why our struggle and our hardship is a gift. Even when we're going through negative experiences, maybe someone dies suddenly, maybe we lose our job all of a sudden, the level of loss is always clearing space for greater change, transformation, and for even greater gains. And so when we look at our life, when the universe gives us things that are struggle, that create hardship, that cause us to overthink, can we go, thank you, universe, for the new inspired growth and change and transformation you're bringing into my life. And the same is with stretching, just to bring it back to the example. When people are feeling more intense stretches, what the pain they're feeling in either their fascia or their muscle, or their maybe even like nerve pain a little to some degree, is is the pain they're feeling is the sign of inner transformation and inner growth. And this is something to be related to when our body is opening up, not necessarily like wounds we just like got. Like if we have an open wound, us like doing something that aggravates that injury or wound a little bit more is maybe pain or transformation in the wrong direction. But if we're just stretching our body and we're feeling some pain that feels supportive and like it's helping open up our muscles or fascia a little bit more, then that's a sign that pain of whatever we're feeling in our muscles or fascia, maybe our nerves to some degree, is a sign of our body going through greater change and transformation as we reclaim more mobility, more range of motion, and to some degree will be more likely to move and flow in our body and be a little less stiff and rigid. And you can think, I was thinking about this before I made this video, of like oftentimes right now in where America is, and it's probably true for a lot of countries culturally, like people really desire, at least for guys, having really big muscles and they usually often rarely stretch or rarely work mobility. And you can think about that, of how people are moving through, how they make choices through their day, how they move through their life. The more people crave big, strong muscles is how much they desire to push through things and structure, but maybe they aren't able to flow or change when life throws them curveballs, or when new moments come into their life that they didn't expect. It's harder for people, and I think this is just generally across our culture, it's harder right now for people to change with life than it is for them to get through the hard parts in their life. And oftentimes, if we just looked at our routine in our day and said, can I just rearrange my routine a little bit as a way of bringing more change into my day to day, and then I would be more comfortable with change. And when life throws me curveballs, or when life brings change into my life, I'm then able to change easier. And the same is with, and even if we just said, what if instead of cooking and swirling the pasta I'm making with my left hand, what if I did it with my right hand with like a spoon or a spatula or something like that? Like, if even small minute changes, instead of opening the door with my left hand, I'll open it with my right. It's helping your subconscious mind get more familiar with change. And when we think about change, structure and strength is important, but we also need to meet moments when uniquely based on the moments that are in front of us, and we can't always plan for something, and we can't always, and things that happen won't always be aligned with our routine. And so when we're looking at how we are relating to life, can we be willing to change and grow just as much as we are willing to push through anything that might be a little bit more challenging, that might be something that requires a little bit more attention or concentration than we typically give that. And I think that's the big thing about our culture right now, is humanity is learning to embrace more and more change, and we're learning that our old systems aren't serving us, and that new systems are going to have to be put in place. And the more individually people get used to change, the more easier it is going to be for our culture to change, for any type of change we wish to bring to our community, or even to a larger level. The more we can embrace change, the more those around us can feel the greater change you embrace, and the more they will start to embrace change, just because life, our souls, our bodies always want to be in balance. And if one person leads the way, it leads like little sparkles, little fairy dust of like insights or ideas that help the people we're connected to also start to make those changes. And I'm someone who feels very close to my sister and very connected to her. And oftentimes the changes I've made in my life, soon thereafter, she also makes those changes. And so we have an impact on the people we're connected to, whether we're aware of it or not. And the more we're willing to embrace change, the more we're able to go, this discomfort I'm feeling through this life experience I'm going through isn't a reason to be hard on myself, isn't a reason to beat up on myself, but to take deep breaths, to encourage myself and support myself, and feel this moment deeper than I've ever felt before, is the same thing that would be good, like when we're stretching. Instead of being hard on ourselves because we don't have the mobility we wish we would have, can we take deep breaths, breathe through whatever discomfort or pain we are going through, and take it as a reason to go, well, you are taking an active step to having that mobility, having that range of motion, and every step you take, it becomes easier and easier, and there becomes less intensity for you to sit with. And everything in life is duration versus intensity, and the more we are able to face intensity, feel it, and move it on when it face, feel it, and move through it when it comes into our life, the more we are naturally going to be changed and transformed in life. And that's all life is trying to get you to do by giving you things that are hard, that create struggle in your life. It's saying, are you willing to change that? And life usually is hard and struggle and will create greater struggle till we get to the level of change we're meant to get to in order to bring the level of impact, love, kindness that we desired at a soul level before we came into this incarnation to bring to this world. And that's going to be different for every person. And sometimes even if you feel really surrendered in life, life will still give you curveballs, life will still give you struggle, and it's just the universe preparing you for your next greatest level of growth and transformation. And your greatest growth and transformation is also your greatest healing. It's also what will bring out your most authentic self. And as you are willing to change and become more flexible in your life and breathe through whatever intensity you're going through and take it as a moment to support and encourage yourself more, the more freedom, authenticity, and well-being you will find within yourself, within your life. And you'll start to be reminded more and more of your power just by your willingness to face life rather than fight life or take life as a reason that you're unworthy, that you deserve less, or that you're not good enough. So I hope that helps, and thank you for listening.